totally anticipate this Fireside Chat to be an opportunity for both Zebulon and for Tomis to showcase knowledge and to really use it as a interest generator for our Accelerator and for your guys' AI session. The base idea is we know that in working with Tomis and Brandon, since we've been connected with each other for like the better part of half a decade or so or more at this point,
Sure.
you know, you guys have always been on that front edge of tech from the broader, you know, marketing software side of things with your AI chatbot and bot, and then also you guys' dashboard at Tomis. And, you know, it seems like you guys have been that front edge. And we even got given out the Innovator Award last year. So, you know, if we were to look at like the early adoption curve, I feel like Tomis as well as Zebulon, you know, especially in this outdoor rec industry, we're always on an innovator early adopter side of things. Mm-hmm. Since there's so much buzz about AI, and we even see like the AI marketing setup, you know, if you get, when Corey's on the marketing committee at AO, there's a huge volume of marketing topics, right? So there's going to be a bunch of saturation there. You know, within the Accelerator, we're going to be helping outfitters create agents that effectively create content that is going to be good for AI search. And what I would like to accomplish in the conversation, you know, narrate what happened to outfitters this last summer, you know, the surprises that we saw, that you guys saw in your numbers. You know, we saw like 30% drops in volume. We saw Google Ads take a total tank. And when people finally blew the top off those Google ad budgets, all of a sudden Google was converting, right? And I was calling it was like pay to play this year. So a brief little section on what we all observed, you know, what you guys uncovered that worked this last year, and then concluding with this is what the game plan is this next year. And how did AI impact it from your perspective?
Yeah.
Right? What did you guys uncover and find that worked? We had our things, and I kind of mentioned that a little bit. You know, we had our observations and what we encourage clients to do. And then, you know, what is it that you suggest outfitters do from this point forward? You know, kind of stay ahead of it and to not be really caught with their pants down next year.
Sure. Yeah. Liam and I are very much focused on like, how does this impact revenue? How does this, you know, where did all of your organic traffic go this last year? Why did Google Ads underperform? Why did other things? Yeah. So we're very much in line.
What do you guys see on your end?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Liam and I have met the past couple of weeks, and just started compiling data from our databases, and, you know, we'll have some pretty good statistics to share. I think that should be kind of eye-catching for most operators that had a bad year. You know, it wasn't easy out there this year, and I think a lot of the ones who have questions, or maybe just need some like reassurance of like, okay, wait,
I wasn't the only one.
This many searches ended in no clicks this year. Like, oh, that's a huge problem. That's exactly what we saw. I don't know if you want to get into this at all now, if you want any spoilers, but there's only been a couple of like studies done on AI over the last year. You know, there's a lot of other like hypothetical information, and we're trying to stick to just like the facts.
So the SEO piece is still very valuable. It's just where users are getting that information, whether it's on the front end of a Google search or actually clicking through to a website, which is, you know, what we're seeing on the decline.
Yeah. And what Liam's trying to say is these outfitter clients need to get comfortable with the idea of an organic impression. Mm-hmm. Everything, you know, in the ads world, they're like, oh, how many impressions do we get? And everything's hunky-dory. But on the SEO side of the equation, they're not valued at all. And that's the wrong way to think about it, especially in these days.
Well, and as Liam, you were saying that too, it made me think it comes back and enforces Corey, our theory on it's going to come into content and creating that language and creating that through blog posts to formulate it, that AI can extract from it, you know, and then like phase 2 is, all right, so when you guys were here and you guys were going through the interactions, what were those audible changes in time that you guys implemented at Tomis to stay on top of it? I've heard word from the street and observed it from our numbers that the Tomis numbers were strong this year relative to the broader industry. If you guys wouldn't mind disclosing it, what were those things that you experienced real time, and how did you as an agency transform it?
Yeah, and I think the industry is a bit plagued by the fact that nobody's willing to spend $18,000 to get new media shoots every 2 years at a minimum, and make themselves look different and continue to stay modern. For some clients, we're still slapping together stuff from 2018 because they won't get anything. They won't invest in their brand. I think that's a big part of it too.
Yeah. So in 2008.
Wow. You can't even look at that and be like, man, I'm not wearing those pants anymore.
Right.
That's like those people who have their LinkedIn profiles like, that was obviously when you graduated college and you are gray now. Like, what are you doing?
And so, we can incorporate some of those elements within this Fireside Chat too, kind of in that middle piece. Not just what we saw, the trend wise on what happened, but like where is it that they should go and put their energies, this fall and this winter in preparation for next summer.
And of course we have some tips and tricks that we've learned over the last year, and I think that's going to continue to evolve and maybe get more aggressive.
So Liam, in your expertise and kind of your knowledge and your preference of it, right, too, where is it that you see are those components and that operator perspective, but then also, like, where do you envision AI is going in the next 365 days, right, next summer, but also 2 summers from now, because it's transforming so fast that 2 summers from now is likely going to be a different ballgame. Mm-hmm. So let's give them that low-hanging fruit today. That's going to set them up for not having to work as hard 2 years from now.
But as far as like the future of AI, that is where I do get into a little bit more theory territory. Starting with kind of that SEO perspective, Google has kind of talked about it internally as AI mode at Google is going to be the future of AI or future of Google search. Mm-hmm. So those traditional blue links, within a year or 2, it could be going away. But that is a little bit of speculative territory for sure.
And see, as Corey actually has a really cool data curve, and as you're talking about that, it makes me think of it. You have a data curve, right? And so, short time period, you have lots of data for, and you can kind of predict short time period. But the further out you go in time, the less data and the less knowledge you have, and it becomes more strategic and more theoretical. Mm-hmm. So, and it's likely going to morph and change.
Yeah.
I like that approach, and Corey's nodding your head too. So, Corey, it sounds like you've drawn similar conclusions.
I read an article about google.com/AI and like what they're thinking of. I was like, whoa, that's hard to wrap my brain around, but like it's a different way to conceptualize approaching the internet, which is big.
Yeah. It comes down to, again, differentiation and perceived value,
Well, in your guys' AI Accelerator, it's primarily focused on content generation, content modification. What does that look like?
Generation. Because a lot of the content that people have, they've been sitting on their laurels and it's been like top 10 things to do, or if they don't even haven't even been investing in a blog. So it's that kind of owning your niche, what you said, Liam. It's the like finding what questions people are asking and building content to get you to appear in the AI overview searches so that you are shown as an authority, you're trusted, you're got expertise, but also using AI to generate that so you're not reinventing the wheel.
Uh-huh. So yes, the skinny is where creating an environment where operators are going to effectively, as a workshop, learn how to use AI to create content that's attractive to AI. So we're double dipping it, right? And so we know that you can't run a marathon like straight off the couch. You got to kind of do little baby steps and little training programs. So like, this is the first kind of training program that we're encouraging people to familiarize themselves with the tools that are out there and starting to use it, all with the intention of using that AI to create content, which we've already been doing at Zebulon for the better part of a year. So like, we're going to be guiding it, and, we're not going to be telling them necessarily what to do, but sharing them the tools that are out there, sharing them the programs that are out there. There's going to be hopefully anywhere from, we already have about 9 confirmed operators in there. We want to get to a dozen operators. So there's going to be a dozen operators with all of their kind of own little mini intentions, doing stuff and then coming back and sharing their experience. And then, we have a 6-week series that's built out along that, that will eventually ideally lead to them and creating content that will be easy for them to produce and populate, that they can start putting on their website through the remaining of the winter, right?
And the timing is such that operators have been running ragged the whole season. Season is wound down now. So we're doing it October, November, December. I know this is when you can take a breather most of the time, but if you don't do it now, like, you no longer have an excuse to be like, I'm too busy to get my hands dirty. So it's an accountability group too. Like, just play with it. Build a project. How did that work? Kind of getting your fingers dirty.
Yeah, I like it. Liam, what do you think about AI generated content?
I think it's great. I really do. I did, exactly what you guys are talking about with a client in the same time period that you're referring to last winter, and that took up that the impressions from those AI written blogs were the vast majority of his impressions for the entire season. So it has a lot of potential, and for operators who are reluctant to get their hands dirty with writing content or using AI, it's the perfect time to do it, because it does kind of allow that time of building some age authority to happen before the season comes back around.
Mm-hmm. Well, most people are sitting on their haunches, right? The other element to it too is, at Corey, we're going to be attending, half a dozen conferences, and all of them have a lot of AI discussions. So since we're going to so many, most operators are lucky to go to 1, 2 at most conferences in a season. So she'll be sharing the tidbits and updates that she's learning through this process, and saying, these are the wins that I got out of this, and these were the bonks.
The final session is December 16th, which is the week after AO. So that will be kind of the culmination of all of the conferences. We will have attended 6 conferences by then, and we'll be sharing the takeaways, including your guys' session, including all the other sessions, and just being like, what did you learn? Like, what's the buzz? But like, what's actually useful? So also kind of just aggregating it for people who wouldn't otherwise have the chance to have access to all that info.
Yeah. Smart.
Lofty goals.
We're on the same page. I mean, it's essentially similar to the talk that we're planning on giving.
Oh, what do they need to do to get in your pipeline?
Yeah, sure. We have on our website, front and center, there's a get in touch button that goes directly to our sales team.
So Tomis.tech, click on get in touch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, get in touch. I don't mind if people email me directly at this point anymore. I'm directly involved in sales. So if people have specific questions, then I'm down to answer those too. So,
and what's your email?
Brandon at Tomis.tech. BRANDON.
At Tomis.tech.
And for anyone who would like more information on Zebulon's Accelerator, please reach out to team@ZebulonLLC.com. That is TEAM@ZebulonLLC.com. Otherwise, stay tuned for the full Fireside Chat with Tomis.tech coming soon.